Greetings and welcome to another edition of Cultural Caravan TV. We're here at Lincoln Center for the 26th annual New York African Film Festival, which features 68 films from 31 countries across the African diaspora. We'll be speaking to producers, actors, and audience members. Are you ready? I'm ready, so let's go. We are welcomed by Leslie Kleinberg, the executive director of where we're at right now, the Films at Lincoln Center. Welcome to Cultural Caravan TV.
Thank you so much. I love being here.
So we've talked to so many different filmmakers and actors, and this is such a special occasion for them. But this is not the first time that the film festival has been here. What makes this something that you host year after year?
Well, actually, we have a very long-standing relationship with the African Film Festival. This is the 26th year.
Yes.
And when we opened up the Walter Reed Theater, which is a theater we're in right now, one of the very first series that we ever had was the African Film Festival. So it's been a big, big part of our organization from the very beginning. It's just so important for us to incorporate and include all the different films from so many different areas of the world. You know, we really consider ourselves an international film organization. So including the African Film Festival and the work that we do is terrific. Of course, we have African films and films by, for, and about Africa all year long here at Film at Lincoln Center. But to have this very special series is so invaluable to us.
Well, being that this is the 26th edition of the film festival, is there something in particular that you're excited about this year?
You know what? I can't say I have a particular film I'm looking forward to because there's just so many, and that would be bad for me to say.
No favorites?
No favorites. But you know what I love about it is that it's actually, you know, Africa is not one monolithic theme or idea. There are so many different countries within Africa, points of view, different kinds of styles and films and filmmakers. So I think that what Mahen brings every year is a really thorough digest of what's going on in the African continent, and also the perspective of filmmakers that I think is really very expansive. You know, she's always looking for new people, and so to me it's always about discovering new people as well.
And I'm sure that everybody involved appreciates the platform that you're giving them here at Lincoln Center and over the years.
I mean, we are the ones who are honored. This is our job, is to be able to present the very best of international cinema, and that's what this is. So it's easy for us. It's our pleasure and it's our honor to host.
Sounds like a great collaboration. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's very lovely. Thank you.
Now we're joined by Tony Ibrahim Adike, the director of Bigger Than Africa. Welcome to Cultural Caravan TV.
Thank you very much. Nice for having me.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit more about your film.
Bigger Than Africa is a feature-length documentary shot in 6 countries: Nigeria, Republic of Benin, Trinidad and Tobago, Cuba, United States, and Brazil. And it follows the survival of the Yoruba culture, a particular group of Africans, from the point of no return in West Africa to all these 6 countries, highlighting the survival of their culture for over 400 years.
And whereas there's been a number of films made about the enslavement, what makes Bigger Than Africa unique?
What made Bigger Than Africa unique is that this is pretty much one of the first time where we're tracing just one group of Africans from the point of no return into the diaspora and connecting it back there. Because the Yoruba culture seems to be the most pronounced culture in the African diaspora till today. irrespective of where you go, Afro-Brazilian, all over the Caribbean. But most oftentimes people, might not be able to connect the dots to exactly where that culture originated from. So that's what Bigger Than Africa did. Connect everything together, having royals from West Africa speaking in the documentary, as well as the people of African descent in the diaspora that were able to hold on to their culture till today.
From the west coast of Africa to North and South America, Cuba and the Caribbeans, the Yoruba came in mass.
Yoruba were a people who came from a thriving empire, an empire that had subject states, an empire that was well organized, well structured, well founded.
The people who began the village came from the Black Panthers, they came from the Martin Luther King movements, they came from the civil rights movements, the Malcolm X movements, Stokely Carmichael. They were fired up.
We are nothing without Africa.
When people are deeply immersed in their own spirituality, it doesn't matter where they go. Within the secular world, they preserve that inner system of beliefs, of relationship with outside phenomena, with nature, and this in turn manifests itself in cultural production, which these slaves took across the Atlantic with them.
Hello, we're joined by Frances Ann Solomon, director, writer, and producer. Welcome to Cultural Caravan TV.
Thank you.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your film, the title, and what inspired you to make it?
Okay, so Hero is about a guy called Ulrich Cross. He was one of the most decorated West Indians in the Second World War in the RAF. And then after the war, he was recruited by another Caribbean person, George Patmore, to go to Ghana on independence as a lawyer. And so the film is really about the untold story of the role that Caribbean professionals and intellectuals played in the African independence movement.
Yes, and I think it is untold. I think a lot of people hear about other people that have contributed to liberation, but the fact that other people from the diaspora, from the Caribbean did it is amazing. What do you hope that people will get out of seeing this film? What do you hope will happen next after they see this film?
Well, first of all, it's an untold story. So what people tell me is that they had no idea about this history and the extent of the involvement of Caribbean people. And then secondly, I think it's rare to see a film where black men are portrayed in such an extraordinarily positive light. These are leaders, lawyers, presidents, prime ministers, working together to bring about a United States of Africa in the 50s. You know, it's really inspiring, and I think it's a great model for young men growing up now, anywhere in the world.
Thank you so much for bringing that to life.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I can't say that I have family to leave behind necessarily. My mother died when I was 13. And not too long after that, my father abandoned all of me. 9 of us. My entire life seemed to change.
What's your name? Kofi Mensah. Kofi Mensah? Yeah, yourself? Ulrich Cross.
Ever since I was a little boy, all I ever wanted to do was become a pilot.
The CIA, the MI6, the intelligence services, you have to understand, building a movement is not easy, Mr. Cross.
I will go to Ghana.
This is Ghana, man.
Yes. Welcome to Ghana, my friend.
Our President Kwame Nkrumah and the people came together to unite Africa.
At last, Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever!
Independence came to over a dozen states peaceably, but in the Belgian Congo, freedom was followed by rioting and army mutiny. reign of terror and disorder.
Well, Mr. Bumbutu, things seem to be a bit unstable.
This is my country, the Republic of Congo.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your film and what inspired you to make it?
Yes, it's actually the story of two Rwandese soldiers who get lost in the jungle in Congo, and they struggle to survive, and they struggle to survive against multiple enemies, and among which are themselves. They fight to survive, and this is basically inspired by the story of the family of the director, who just basically is a genocide, Rwandan genocide survivor, and then he had also witnessed all the wars that were after the genocide, and decided to make a film, an anti-war film, about peace, about how that entire region that has suffered a lot of problems over the past 30 years should really go toward peace. Basically, that's it. So peace is the inspiration.
Yes, and it's a very important story to tell. I know that you said that it was inspired by a real-life event of somebody involved with the movie. So what would be your personal connection? Like, is there something that really moved you about this film, either in making it or once you saw your completed project?
Yeah. No, it's a very universal film, actually. It's human beings in time of war, and it's just the absurdity of war. And that was really the drive of producing this film, is basically to talk about that, and then to talk about that in areas in Africa that actually African directors rarely portray that type of realities and stuff like that. So it was a very rare film in a sense, and that's why, as a producer, I really decided to produce that Rwandan film. It's a rare attempt, I would say, of a Rwandan director to portray the reality of that region, and to talk about the stupid war that is still ongoing in the Kivu region today.
So, being that there is still a conflict going on, what were some of the challenges that came with actually making this film?
Well, we had to find a place that looked like it, and basically there's a part of the jungle that actually is in Uganda. So we shot in Uganda, where it was actually possible to do it, but we had to shoot in the middle of the jungle, which was a challenge in itself, because we had like hours every day of walking, because we couldn't go with cars and stuff like that. So it was a physical challenge in the film, and so that was a big part of the difficulty of making that film, is finding the right spot and to bring an entire crew there, and just like an international crew that was partly Belgian, France, Rwandan, Ugandese. So it was a very strong and big crew, but international crew shooting in very difficult, remote locations.
So considering all those challenges, what advice would you give up-and-coming filmmakers that are trying to make an international project that might be in an area where there is still some sort of challenges, conflict? What would be your one key piece of advice?
Well, I think first of all, you need time, you need patience, you need to take the time to develop it properly, to find the right people to surround you, being producers, of course, but cast, technical crew, and stuff like that. And so it's a matter of of endurance. It's a matter and taking time to go to different places to expose your film in the right festival, in the right workshop, things like that, and just and take the time to refine the screenplay, and then again at the end of the day to work with the right people.
Understood. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
C'est ta première mission.
Ma première mission.
Je vais te donner une autre mission. Je vais aller dormir là-bas. Quand ils se lèveront, tu me réveilleras.
D'accord, monsieur. Lève-toi. Ils ne m'ont pas réveillé. On est perdu.
On va entrer dans la jungle.
Moi, il peut faire si froid dans ce jungle. C'est quand même en Afrique, non?
C'est comment, Malaria?
Je suis désolée, nous n'en avons pas.
Laissons des vélos.
Paysan.
C'est comme ça qu'on m'appelle.
Avec cette allure, c'est difficile de deviner ce que tu es.
Et vous avez une femme?
ce côté-là, les Congolais, les Angolais, les Zimbabwéens. De l'autre côté, les Rwandais.
Maman! J'avais toujours peur, sergent.
Ne plus pouvoir distinguer l'innocent du coupable. Voilà ce qui me fait peur.
Hi, and we are joined by Sean Antoine II, the writer, the producer, and director of Showtime. Welcome to Cultural Caravan TV.
Nice. Thank you for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your film and what inspired you to make it.
My film is about two New York City street subway dancers. They dance on the train, and a woman from Juilliard sees them dancing on the train and offers one of them the opportunity to audition for a Juilliard travel dance team. What I really wanted to show in my film is what type of trials and tribulations these kids go through once they leave the train. So it's a narrative film. It's beautifully shot. I would say my DP, Emily McCartney, she did her thing on it. And yeah, I got an actual New York City train dancer to perform as an actor. And yeah, it's a beautiful film.
Do you have experience as, a street artist at all?
So I used to dance back in the days, not really on the train, but a part of life culture and everything. But a lot of my friends continue to dance. So I really wanted to be able to tell their truth through this film, speak to, what type of trials and tribulations they go through on a daily basis. And yeah, so I really tried to, be as authentic as possible. They're from my neighborhood, so I really wanted to make sure this story was told properly.
And where did you film it?
We shot it actually right across the street at Lincoln Center, some scenes.
Oh, okay. So this is coming home.
It's coming home. Everything came full circle. So, yeah, we shot some of that. We shot a lot of it in Harlem, on the trains in New York City. So, yeah.
So what advice would you give up-and-coming filmmakers who are trying to do really genuine, authentic films about real life, particularly in urban areas? Given whatever challenges you might have experienced with the film, what do you think would be the primary advice for somebody that's looking to do something similar?
Tell the stories you know, especially as people of color. So many times, we're not telling our stories. And I feel like that's a big problem. And a lot of things I want to do, and I'm encouraging a lot of my peers to do, is tell these type of stories. Tell the stories that we know, tell the stories that we want to see on screen, and speak our truths through these films. And yeah, so that's the best advice I would do. And don't be afraid to fail. Everybody starts somewhere, and just get the work out there, and you'll constantly grow and get better.
Oh, I hear that. Sounds like just do it. Just do it for the culture.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Showtime, folks, showtime. What time is it? Showtime. Here we go, the worst show ever. Yes, we are not good at all. A bad and sad show. Bad because we're not good. Sad because we're not good. Here we go. Worst show ever.
I'm Sean Antoine II, and I'm the writer and director for Showtime. Showtime follows two brothers, Darius and Hakeem, who perform light feet on New York City trains to earn honest money. When a woman sees Darius performing on the train, she offers him the opportunity of a lifetime to audition for a travel dance team. Darius is forced to make a decision whether to continue to dance on the train with his brother or to pursue this opportunity.
Yes, and we are joined by Mahen Bonetti, the executive director of the African Film Festival and the founder of the New York African Film Festival. Welcome to Cultural Caravan TV.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
So this is an extraordinary year, 26 years of the African Film Festival. And this year's theme is Beyond Borders, Storytelling Across Time. Can you tell us a little bit more about the significance of that theme, why you chose it?
I think for us, the stories that are being told through the films that we're presenting in this year's festival span the entire diaspora. And also, these filmmakers are telling us stories that indicate that our borders that were artificially created, that had nothing to do with us, can be erased by us because we did not create these divisions. When I say these borders, I'm speaking of also how we interact with each other's people. I feel that these demarcations that were created have really contributed to the sort of trauma that we as people of African descent have felt for so long. And now we have a generation that's telling us, and who have really felt the brunt of a lot of this, but they're creating new ideas, new cultures, new spaces, and that's the upside also of the technology, because it's bringing them together within this space of the digital era, and that's the beauty of it. So this is why we're saying, beyond borders, storytelling across time. And also, then we're paying homage as well to, our giants. And when I say giants, I'm speaking of those unsung giants and unsung heroes that are not the markers that we normally think about. For example, the film we're opening with tonight, Hero. Yes. How many people knew of Ulrich Cross? But we knew of Mandela, and maybe George Padmore. We know of Nelson Mandela, but we don't know of Joseph Parker. So there are also these heroes that those giants are standing on their shoulders as well. So when we say borders, beyond borders, storytelling across time, these are all the different themes, sub-themes that contribute to that big umbrella.
Yeah. It sounds like a grand undertaking, just that mission to break down these false borders, as you said, to help people to be aware of some of the heroes and the people of significance that we might not have known of before. And it's 68 films, 31 countries, multiple genres, and 26 years you've been doing this.
Yes.
So what have been some of the highlights and some of the challenges that come with such a grand undertaking?
Each time when I think the well is dry, then there are these stories that are being told that just sort of inspire us and encourage us and basically wake us up again. And it's coming from all different quarters. Like this year we have a story from China, about Africans in China, told by Chinese, okay? And we have people from South America telling stories about Frantz Fanon, So it's just incredible that I feel that whenever the well is dry, where do we all go to? Right now, Africa is front and center in all the various disciplines. You look at fashion, you look at music, you look at storytelling, you look at the cinema. And I feel that the undertaking happens because first of all, we can't complain if we don't do it ourselves, right? And I'm doing this work for us as people of African descent to realize our worth. I feel, that comes back to this trauma I'm speaking about. We don't have to wait for someone to validate us. We're great people, we're beautiful people. We've been given so much, Yes. I want us to love each other. That's why I'm doing this work. I want us to love each other, That is 90% of our battle, So, I feel that creating these communal spaces whereby we can all come and see something and have a discussion afterwards, and, you create a really, comfortable, environment and safe environment where this can take place. And that fleeting moment, and you can agree to disagree. That's why we always have a discussion after the program, so people can, and people are hungry for that, because that's also the downside of this technology. Also, we're isolated from each other. People are venting behind a screen, but you create this communal space where people can actually physically come together and hear from the creators, and exchange, in dialogue with the creators and amongst themselves. And that fleeting moment when they leave, what do they do with that information? It's really inspiring, and that's why year after year you have people coming back And I want to believe there's because of the trust, the consistency, and the quality of our work, you know? Yes.
And in regards to just what an aspiring filmmaker would need to do to be a part or have their work be a part of the African Film Festival, what types of things do you look for in terms of featuring films?
I think, for me, when the story is honest, and you tell the story right? And if it's honest, it resonates anywhere in the world. You can make a politically charged film, a suspenseful film, a pure entertainment film, but you bring what you know to that, that story, and it will resonate anywhere in the world. So that's first and foremost, I tell an aspiring filmmaker, don't try to imitate someone else, Tell the story, and be honest about it. So once you do that, the production value is secondary because you're so hooked into the story because you know that story, or you're interested in that story. Yeah.
And those words I think are going to be very inspiring to people who will look at this and hope that next year, the year after, because it's really beyond borders and beyond obstacles. It's about the story.
Yes.
No technology, no big production value is the obstacle. It's about that story.
It's about the honest story, telling the story, and believing in the story you're telling.
So exciting. So you might, after this episode, get a barrage of submissions for the next African Film Festival. Yes. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
We want to actually salute you for all that you've done, particularly for bringing people together like this, and also bringing the different generations. As you said, they're noticing the colonialism now, and now seeing it through a different lens. How did our forebears deal with this?
Absolutely.
And how can that give us some sort of perspective on how we can do it? So we salute you. We thank you so much, and we look forward to another 26 years or more of your fabulous work.
And we thank you as well, because I think it's about the collective. Everyone contributes to the larger picture.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of Cultural Caravan TV. We hope you've enjoyed the show and that you will write, tweet, and post about it. Tell a friend. And as always, we wish you well.